What's going on, guys? It's Mitchell with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great Sunday. It was very warm depending on where your location. It hit 86 degrees here for a high in Columbia, South Carolina. Record high by 2 degrees. Very, very warm today. Very, very warm weekend. 2 straight days of above 80 degrees here. And just very warm in general. You got an ongoing severe weather event in the Mid-South. Luckily, I haven't heard really any reports of tornadoes really as of now, so we'll hope that that continues to trend that way. So we're going to talk about what a lot of people have been talking about in my comments, and that is the system for next week. We're going to break it down and kind of show what the trends have trended to today. A lot of people just point blank in the comments ask, is it going to snow? What about our snow threat? Guys, I just want to let y'all know there's not really a threat of anything. There is a storm threat, I guess you can say. There is a threat for something, but it's hard to say that it's a legit threat, I guess. When you're talking about snow in the South, unless you get within 2 or 3 days and you've had consistent days in a row of it showing snow for a specific time frame, it's really hard to take it very serious. So keep that in mind as you look at the things that I show you guys. I don't want to be the person who hypes anything up. So we're going to go over all the models, just a few main ones, and really break down what scenario we have for next weekend. And I know a lot of people just want to hear snow, 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 but we're in a situation now where things could change very quickly. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider subscribing. It's much appreciated. Awesome way to support me as always. So thank y'all for tuning in tonight. So this is the latest GFS run. Let's see what we got going on here. We're going to have, I really hope y'all took advantage of the warm weekend, depending on where you are, and the mild weekend, just depending on your location, because it's going to get back to normal early March weather as we are rounding out the end of February today. So we got this system. This system is going to pump out some heavy rain for areas. It's like a southern slider, but just for the southern states, obviously. And it's definitely not cold enough for snow, but that storm system gets out of here. And here's our cutoff low. This is a stout jet stream. The trough is digging very, very hard right here, and very, very. It's like a roller coaster. You got ridging out west, and then it just drops like a rock here. And you got big time troughing, steep troughing going over the eastern U.S. So this upper level low is going here, but it just gets sheared and smashed down as we get into the weekend. And the system suddenly is all of a sudden the Gulf of Mexico, and we get into the weekend, and you have a big time troughing going on here. A piece of polar vortex is up here. It's just a weird kind of bow in the trough that's really, bringing some pretty cool air, some very cold air in the northeast later this weekend. So what it's doing is it's digging so hard that it's suppressing our storm, or shearing it out, and it's basically goes way too south. So I want to show y'all every model run and what it shows before we talk about what this means. So what it means for the GFS is there's just no storm system at all for really anybody except the southern tip of Florida. So you look at the European model, and it's very similar. You get that system midway through us, drops a lot of rain, and here you go. You got a big time trough digging right here. The system's right here, and then it just kind of dissipates, but it doesn't really dissipate. The low pressure just goes all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, and then it pops out into the eastern Atlantic right here. But you probably have enough cold air for a lot of places. If this thing would trend back northwest, it would be snow for areas that don't really see much snow in early March. And but we're kind of in a situation where the trough is suppressing the storm system. So you look at the Canadian model, which really isn't that much of a respected model. I just kind of want to show it to you because it shows exactly what the other models are showing. Check out the trough digging, big time ridging out west. The ridging is just so strong that it's just digging big time. It is just like a really, really steep trough here that's just over the eastern U.S. And it just pushes that storm, that cutoff low down here. Then it turns into a strong low pressure off the southeast coast. But it's here. There's a storm system here with cold air in place. If we push this storm south northwest, Obviously, that means you would bring in a little bit more warm air, but you have favorable dew points in place that really can definitely promote dynamic cooling. And we've talked about dynamic cooling a lot in these videos. Dynamic cooling in this situation, so basically, let's look at maybe the soundings right here. I forgot you can't look at soundings on this. But anyways, dynamic cooling really helps. Basically, it can turn heavy precipitation, whether that's heavy rain, and it can cool the column, and then it maybe could switch to heavy rain to heavy snow, just depending on the setup. So right now, most models are really pushing this and suppressing the storm system and not really giving anybody a storm system. You look at the EPS Ensembles, it still shows a little something. But guys, I want to definitely make sure y'all know this, that when you have a storm system to suppress this far out, I mean it's 5-6 days out, that is actually a good thing if you won't snow. A suppressed storm this far out, sometimes a lot of people in the weather community say it's inevitable for storms to trend northwest, and it really is. Storms do this, they'll get suppressed, and then they'll trend northwest in the last 2 to 3 days of the storm. And all of a sudden, you have a storm threat that happens in the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, the southeast, all the time, whether it's a rain event, snow, whether it may be. But this is a system where you have, you might have the system down here, but it could trend northwest all of a sudden in the last few days. And all of a sudden, we're dealing with some kind of storm system here in the eastern U.S. So this threat's not completely away, guys. There's still a storm down there, but the trough is digging so hard that it's suppressing the storm, and we really need some other things to kind of come together to pull the storm back inland. And I really think it could happen. Nobody would be surprised if it would, to be honest. But you get into Friday, and here's that cutoff low right here. Here's the energy right here, but it just gets kind of thrown deep down there. And this is the GFS Ensembles here, and just a major troughing right here. This is steep troughing, really suppresses this storm system. But I want to show you this, and I'll probably wrap this video up. There's no point in dragging this on. This is important. This is, guys, I do want to tell y'all that even if we don't get a storm system, it is going to be a chilly weekend, chilly, wintry-like weekend as far as how it feels outside. So this coming weekend for the southeast and mid-Atlantic and northeast, it's not going to be anything like this weekend. So go on and be aware of that. It's not going to be anything like this. So even if we don't get I can tell you one thing. One thing that's really starting to look certain is it's going to be chilly next weekend. It's going to be cold for the entire eastern U.S. So definitely go on and put that in the bank, I really think. But look at the dew points as you have a system just off the coast of the GFS. That is workable dew points for if you can get precipitation to work northwest, you can get dynamic cooling. When you got dew points, say, in the low 20s, and you got temperatures, say, in the mid to upper 40s, the temperatures are going to drop, and the dew points are going to rise. Wherever they meet up, whether they meet up at 32 degrees, that's what your wet bulb temperature is. So if your wet bulb temperature is in the 30s, and you have a cold column of air aloft, a lot of cold up top, you have no warm nose to melt any kind of snowflakes in the upper layers of the atmosphere, then it all falls at snow in the mid-30s. And you get a paste bomb, basically, and you get heavy, wet snow. And that's what can happen in these situations. So we still need to watch the storm. Yes, there's no crazy weather models showing any crazy snow runs anymore, but this is still a system that we have to watch. It's still around. It's just being pressed down and pressed southward. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. That's your update. I'm going to keep y'all updated on the system. Next weekend still looks interesting, but models have definitely shifted in another way. But they could turn around and shift back here in the next day or so. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. But thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's evening.